As construction on the major Tropicana project continues, drivers are directed to a temporary diverging diamond interchange at Tropicana Avenue. NDOT is reminding drivers how to navigate this new traffic pattern. The diamond interchange is in place on Tropicana while crews rebuild the Tropicana bridge over the I-15. NDOT says the setup may be confusing to drivers as they are briefly driving on the left side of the street instead of the right.
This view looking towards the strip shows drivers on eastbound Trop can either make a free right onto southbound I-15 or briefly cross over to the left side of Trop before continuing on toward Las Vegas Boulevard. Here's that same movement from behind the wheel. Be sure to follow the arrows and lines. Don't just go on autopilot and assume the driver in front of you has it down. If that driver makes a mistake, you don't want to double down.
The diamond interchange will be in place through the middle of 2024 as work on Tropicana continues. NDOT says it will add cones and signage as necessary, but overall, watch the arrows and the lane lines on the ground.